If you guys are new to the channel, welcome. I'm Dr. Trey Martin. I'm a baseball physical therapist in the Central Florida area. Please subscribe to the channel if you can. With TikTok possibly getting banned, I'm gonna have to move a lot of stuff to YouTube. I have a lot more people following me on TikTok and Instagram, and I'd love to build up a YouTube channel and drop some tips for the baseball guys and help you guys perform better, rehab from injuries, and stuff like that. So a little bit about me. I basically work with baseball people all day, help them throw healthier, throw harder, stay on the field longer, that kind of thing. That's my full-time job, and I love what I do. So I'm going to start making more and more videos like this so I can kind of go over some cases I'm seeing and hopefully help you guys at home get rid of some of the aches and pains that you have from throwing a baseball without having to pay someone like me a lot of money. So here we go. One of the cases that I've had this week is I have a young lefty pitcher that's just gotten back into throwing, and he was dealing with that lower bicep pain right in here. And now most people think it's the normal bicep, the one that you do all your bicep curls with, but typically it's actually the brachialis muscle that lives just under the bicep. I'll show some anatomy of it there. This muscle basically is going to be responsible from keeping your elbow from slamming into extension. So as you throw and extend, it's going to help decelerate the forearm so you don't, completely let your arm fall off like that. So it gets very sore early in the season as we build up workloads. And generally it's not a big time injury, it's not a huge problem, but that being said, it can be a pesky thing that causes enough pain that you lose a couple ticks of velocity, so not the best thing, and it's a pretty easy solution. So first things first, what I like to start out with these guys is something soft tissue work related. If you're seeing a doctor of physical therapy, a chiro, someone like that, that can dry needle, I find that dry needling is a really quick way to help solve this. Here's a video of what that looks like. If you don't have access to dry needling, like you can, roll it out, self-massage, take like the back of a spoon or a back of a knife or something like that, take some cocoa butter and just like kind of grasping through that bicep and just free up the soft tissue. That would be the first thing I would go into. Just to break up the pain cycle. It's not going to be a miracle cure, but it's going to help you start feeling a little bit better before we get into phase 2. Phase 2 is going to be light isometrics. So if you're going to want to do this progression based on how much pain you're in. If you're in a ton of pain and this is killing you, you might have to stay in this isometric phase a little bit longer. But what you're going to want to do is do some isometric holds for the bicep, both in a supinated position and also a hammer grip position. Hammer grip will get our brachialis a little bit more. Supinated, we're going to get biceps and also the brachialis, so you can get both from that way. And you're going to do some longer duration isometric holds. We're talking like 45 to 60 second isometric holds with something fairly light. This is going to help also break the pain response. So first, soft tissue. Second, we're going to go into isometrics. If you can tolerate that and it's completely fine pain-wise, the next thing you want to get into is going to be eccentrics. Eccentrics are going to be the best way to get this to fully go back to square one. That being said, like I mentioned earlier, if you're in a ton of pain and you're 6, 7, 8 out of 10 pain and you've lost a lot of velocity, it might take a minute before you get back in eccentrics. They're going to be a lot of stress, but they're also going to be very healing for that muscle and tendon, and it's going to help you get back fully. So here's a couple examples of eccentric progressions that I had my guy do from there. So again, soft tissue work, go through some isometric drills, then also get through some eccentrics. Also on top of this is I like to get into treating the forearm area here too. So there's the supinator up here, and then there's also the pronator that'll come across here. So those two are just some little freebie areas that can also help, because if you think about like the mechanism of slamming into extension and the brachialis getting overloaded, we're also going to want to treat this area too, because it's not going to be far behind as far as like locking up and getting a little stiffer. So same process, soft tissue work there, Graston, dry needling, something like that. And then also you can do a couple of the drills that I'm showing here where we're doing some like nice, slow, controlled eccentrics, getting some isos at in range. And that's going to help clean up this area too, which is also going to de-stress some of that bicep pain and help you get back to square one. I don't have this on video for this particular video, but other things too, like strengthening the scapula, rotator cuff, things like that. Like all of the normal arm care stuff will also be helpful for this condition. And then on top of that, just full body mobility, hip, T-spine, ankle, neck, all the things that are going to help you move better on the mound will also de-stress some of the bicep pain. So all that to be said, the biggest problem too, on top of the orthopedic treatment that we just talked about, is you're going to have to manage your workload. So if your workload is here and you spiked it up to here, this is where this overstress of the bicep comes in and where the injury and pain can happen. And this is true of all injuries. Typically, injuries happen when we ramp up stress too quickly early in the season. So if you're early in the year and you're starting to have this bicep pain or back of shoulder pain, forearm tightness, anything like that, it's a good sign that you probably ramped up workload a little too quickly. So if you're already dealing with something like this, do the treatment approaches that we talked about. See a PT, see a massage therapist, your local athletic trainer, school doc, whoever you got. Touch base with them. But also from a throwing workload standpoint, if say you were throwing 50 pitches an outing and that was giving you pain, you're going to have to back it down to where you're back to maybe 25, 30 and see if that's okay. Maybe take down some of the intensity on even your throwing programs and just take off the volume a little bit too. So if you're normally long tossing for 20 minutes or something like that, maybe back it down as this heals to 10 minutes. Bring your pitch counts down a little bit too. Try this exercise progression and the soft tissue work, and then start bumping that workload back up until you're back to pain-free. So that's a quick overview. I know we mentioned a lot just now, so quick recap. First, treat the soft tissue, dry needling, scraping, self-massage, something like that. Then isometrics, eccentrics, modify your throwing program, strengthen the full body, and work on mobility. So if you want an easy way to do that, I have a baseball app. It's going to fit all these boxes. It's going to help you with all the things that you just needed, that I just mentioned for arm care, the mobility, the strength of the rotator cuff, forearm, all these things. So if you're interested in that, I will drop it in the description below. You can check that out. It also has a workout program on it too. It's only $49.99 a month. Workout program, arm care plan, all written by me. So if that's something of interest, that's going to be linked below. You can also reach out if you have any questions about that. So that's it for today's video. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions about other arm injuries you want me to cover, or about biceps in specific and the brachialis injury that we just talked about today, please let me know in the comments and I would love to talk more.